email? Because I
Yeah,
actually have to.
Yeah, go ahead and make sure, just give your email.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you live in the area or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just have to-
So I will
There's a
put this.
question back here in the corner.
Put it in the corner.
Right back here, Carrie.
So I had UE as
Hmm?
my
What?
and then
You're supposed to be
now I have River River.
following him?
So when I had UE, I asked them to take out the meter, and it was, at the time, it was $250 to take it off and $25 a month for them to come out and read it. So when I moved down to River River, I called them and said I wanted my smart meter off, and they said, no, they're all gone. And they said, you cannot get a smart meter, ever. We got rid of all of our smart,
Right.
I'm sorry, we cannot get the regular
Right.
meter.
That's
We
true.
only have smart meters.
That's true.
So I said, well, my brother-in-law is a upper echelon at UE, and so I called him and I said, can you get me an old meter? And he said, yes. So I called River Riverback and said, I can get a meter, I want it on my house, and I'll pay you to put it on, I don't care. And they wouldn't do it.
No, they won't, because they're making money on all this stuff. It's a big, it's a cash cow.
Yeah.
Again, River River is more of a privately type deal, especially like Kirkwood. There's different municipalities, they have their own private. So when you're more private they are, the more likely for them to have the, the cash cow coming in for that city. They're making a lot of money on that. Because again, they know everything about you. They can sell that data. It's all about the data right now. So I've heard that more than once. I had a client in Whitmore. And she was a Dr. U client. She had not left her house in 2 years. This is a true story.
Oh.
Not left her house. Not even went to the mailbox in 2 freaking years. Up to go see Dr. U. All we did was put a helmet on top of her smart meter, got rid of all the Wi-Fi, and she threw her cell phone away. 90 days later, she was perfect. Didn't need Dr. U anymore. She riding her bike every day. She says, Rob, I feel amazing. But she went to a baseball game right after that. She said, Rob, I was so sick. I won't go to the baseball game again. Because of that, because her body. But that's how fast this can change if you put your body in the right situation to recover. So she had the right doctor on the right protocol, but you ain't gonna get better if you keep poisoning yourself.
I just want to say, if you want to feel what it's like, just turn your electricity off tonight for the whole night and see what it's like to sleep without the EMF.
Shell, she's exactly right. I'm glad you brought that up.
Unplug everything.
Yeah, in my very beginning, because before I went to see Dr. Klinghardt, he said, unplug everything at night. Because I didn't have, I tried to hire a building biologist, but no one would come. Everybody was like 2,000 miles away. I called Orrin Miller, which ended up being my teacher, and he kind of told me what to do. He just listen, just turn off all the power at night. And that's the cheapest way. Go see Klinghardt, started to become a building biologist. I said, I'm gonna become a building biologist, I'm into this this is kind of fun. So that's basically, and it wasn't actually until I turned off all the power, and then during the daytime I had the power on, I had to get some filters called the DNA filters that actually Bill Bathgate referred for me, and that really made a big difference for me. And then the final flush for me to feel better was the heavy metals. Not so much the parasite medications, but the heavy metals. The methyl blue. Again, this isn't a Pfizer document. It says if you want to get rid of the hydrogel in the Pfizer document, is you got to take EDTA, vitamin C, acid from an apple. You take the pills. And then there's maybe one other thing. It's in the Pfizer document. It's called the antidote.
Are you talking the documents that were talked about by Wolf?
Yeah, I've not seen Wolf talk about the document. It might be something
Oh,
similar.
no, she's got hundreds of thousands of them she's got, okay? And she's got a team of a couple thousand people that have gone over them and put them into forms. A book is pending right now.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Anna House does like $80 a year to be a member for her to get all of her stuff. It's got all of her stuff in here. But I actually have the patent I can pull up that read off what to take. Go ahead.
Is it okay to turn your phone on airplane mode? Will that help?
Yes. So you always want your phone on airplane mode as much as possible. And obviously the second best thing is get rid of the phone, but it's again, you might, for reasons of a flip phone idea, for emergency, that's fine to have. But Dr. Anna Mahoush, she's a doctor, she got rid of her phone. She has a flip phone for emergencies only. She has no smartphone. So what I use my phone for is just to receive messages. I still have to have a smartphone because I can't do financing. I can't even call the finance company and do an application over phone. You have to be in the house and you have to do it on the app or they won't accept it. And no circumstances. I give this company $3 or $4 million of business, and they won't. This is how they do it. They don't want to talk to anybody anymore. So,
Get your landline.
yeah. Yeah, so the recap, landline, got your, get rid of your, much as you can, reduce your cell phone use, hardwire the home, it's not that difficult. It's anywhere from $500 to $4,000 you range to hardwire the house. All my TVs have been hardwired, all my, I have extra switches that people can plug in, they wanna do their iPad, my daughter can come over and use that. But even, my sister even said, she goes, this thing works way better than Wi-Fi. Hardwiring is way better than Wi-Fi. Matter of fact, the company she works for, she works out of the house, they have to have it hardwired, because they know you're working.
Is that like Ethernet?
Ethernet, that's
Yeah.
it. So it's Wi-Fi and a cord.
Okay.
That's what it is. Remember, it always was Wi-Fi and a cord.
Yeah.
Well, this is my cord. But it's always been that way. And then they got rid of the cord Wi-Fi and decided, let's just poison everybody Wi-Fi. You know, so again, it's the same radiation as chemotherapy. We're getting sprayed with low dose chemotherapy every day, and I didn't sign up for that. And I can't opt out of that. It's everywhere.
When you say that grounding, that is using your feet to apply them directly to the ground in order to help regulate.
Yeah,
Does that
yeah.
help at all to count?
Grounding is great. Again, you go by how you feel. Some people have grounding mats, you know, but when you do a grounding mat, unless you're plugged outside onto the ground, the earth, but then really you're supposed to test that. But again, there's very, very little ground that's not polluted a little bit. So a lot of people want to take the node and plug it into the outlet, into the ground. But unless your grounding system is cleaned up a little bit, you can actually make it worse. So I usually recommend that people just do grounding maybe 1 to 2 days a week and see how you feel. And if it makes you feel better, to keep doing it. But I don't recommend it every day because there's so much current getting pushed back into the system because overflow. We have too much. The grid's overloaded. So all these electric cars, basically, it's a dirty bomb. Okay, it's a dirty bomb driving around. Okay, we're overloading the grid, and then he keeps saying with zero emissions. But then what about zero emissions at that spot? But when you make it to electricity, well, you have emissions over here. So it takes 300 barrels of oil to make one electric car battery. And they're using slave labor, and the mineral they're using out there is not enough to go around anyway. It's very extremely toxic. They catch on fire all the time. And then I've been inside one. I took an Uber to pick up my car in the shop, and I'm like, God, I feel miserable in this thing. I had no idea an Uber would drive around in an electric car. And I go, well, how much is your car insurance? She goes, $500 a month. Maybe because she drives all day. But her car was $500 a month. Then it's found out it was an electric car. And I was like, I wish I could test it. It was horrific. I started getting sick. And I hadn't been sick like that in quite a while. From the modulation, it's modulating back and forth in that car. And you got tires rotating, which is bad enough. The high magnetic field's there. Then you added 2,000 more pounds of weight on the roads now, which is going to make more road problems. You get all those cars in one of those cars downtown St. Louis in a baseball game. You're going to see some of those car lots collapse. You've added all this extra weight.
Yeah.
And then it can only go 300 miles. You got to change 10 hours to charge it. It creates so much stress on the grid. 300 barrels of oil to make it. It's way worse than an 8-cylinder. Way worse. Anybody bought those things got scammed. It costs $30,000 to replace one of those batteries. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna throw it away or turn it into a dirty bomb. And that's basically what they are. They're horrific. I mean, it makes no sense to have an electric car. Zero. A hybrid's one thing because you might not get away with it. I understand you might want to buy a vehicle, just don't use the electric part of it.
So she mentioned like turning off all your electricity. So do you mean like going to your box, your breaker box, and then actually?
Yeah, just turn them all off. Now, here again, there's a little asterisk here. Okay, so I'm not responsible if your refrigerator won't turn back on. Okay, because as a building biologist, we will, when we turn off all the breakers, I have to find how much current's coming in from your neighbors. So I got to turn all your power off, but I turn the breakers off one by one. If I turn off the main breaker and do it, if I mess up something there, then I call an electrician. I'm in a pickle. So if I just do one at a time, it's a little more of an easier if something actually doesn't work. Some of these breakers are old, and I've never seen it happen before. Never ever had it ever happen. But I just turn my main breaker. If you have a newer house, less than 20 years old, just turn the main breaker off. But again, there's a chance your compressor of your refrigerator won't come back on. It never had it happen to me. Then of course, when you turn your power back on, your Wi-Fi router has to get resynced and all that stuff. You know, so sometimes I have to deal with a homeowner, and I ask him, the husband was nothing to do with it. The wife's sick. He just wants her to get the building biologist through the house here as fast as possible and give me some money and get me out of here. You know, but to get him to let me turn the power off, a lot of times working out of the house is hard to do. So sometimes, so what I can do if I turn off all the power, except for one outlet, leave one outlet on, I can hook up my oscilloscope or and my spectrum analyzer here, and I can turn the breakers on one by one, and I can tell you which one's causing that spike at the 20 kilohertz. I turn the breakers on one by one. But I have to also, usually the best way of doing it, I have to have that water pipe, PEX tube, to keep that current from coming in on that water pipe, and that way it travels throughout your entire electrical system. So that's something I can do a little bit later on once I get a client that's kind of on the right page here about getting them better. So I can't actually figure out what's causing that spike in that actual spectrum analyzer or picoscope I have here.
Does it matter if you have U-verse, type fiber optics, is all that different, or is it what's in your house?
Okay. Well, usually the biggest problem is you. It's never the 5G tower. It's always what's inside the house. That's the biggest booby trap, okay? Now, fiber optics is great. Makes total sense. But there's a tracer wire in there that can actually cause a little bit more EMFs because there's a tracer wire, and they do that so they can find the wire. They always have it left. They put frequencies on that wire to make sure they can find it in the ground and that type of thing. It's called a tracer wire. But the biggest booby trap is it gets hijacked. So when you have these fiber optics going through your neighborhood, now they can put towers up and put antennas attached to the fiber optics. Because your cell phone towers work on fiber optics. But then they have these big, huge pipes that goes up to the top of the speakers, and are 10 times too much wattage. Each one of those speakers can handle 400 watts by the FCC. That's a maximum amount. But you have so much power there, you actually can have there's actually each one that can have enough power to handle 3,000 watts. Basically, you have another atomic bomb. So really, it's a perfect weapon system because you don't mess up the infrastructure. Only in biology you'll be affected by the radiation. You keep the infrastructure there, you turn it up a little bit, people get fried, you start dying, then people never know, and then your infrastructure is perfect. It's way better than a bomb. That's why the military likes according to the documents I have, the literature I have states that it's the most perfect weapon because they don't damage the infrastructure. Just the people, biology.
So they can use it as a weapon later on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every one of these things. Again, the U.S. Army, the document says microwave radiation, every frequency can be used as a weapon at any time in the microwave spectrum. And then we're using the microwave spectrum for cell phones, all your devices. Anything above about 300 megahertz or 200 megahertz is kind of in the microwave radiation spectrum. Below that, you get the FM radio waves and the AM radio waves. And then you have the extreme low frequencies which come off the wiring. But in that microwave spectrum, into the 300 gigahertz, which is the 5G, and then below 1 gigahertz, is all considered a weapons frequency, open for use anytime you want. And that's why Wi-Fi has been so perfect as a weapon frequency, according to Dr. Barry Trower.
This is Carol. Yes, I have a question. We have a swim spa.
Those are always a lot of fun.
Well, so what about all that electric into?
Well, again, you have a motor, and for efficiency,
We have a heater?
there's a heater. So what happens is when the motors come on and off, on and off, on and off, those variable speeds, that's what dirties the grid. So what I would recommend is you want to get either a DNA filter or the sine tamer light I showed you earlier when I went down. The sine tamer, where is it over here? There it is. So I would get a filter put in your panel to take out that energy that created. Again, every computer, when you have that little in your cord, that little block is what's called a switch mode power supply. It goes from 120 volts to 12 volts, AC current to DC current. When you do all that, you chop up the wave so many times that creates all this dirty power into the grid. And we have 10 or 15 for each homeowner. Then you have your neighbors, and because you're attached to your neighbor's transformer, you usually share 3 to 6 people or all that transformer, and because you all share the same water pipe, you're all connected to it. It's just a big circle, and that's why it gets traveled back in your home, gets pushed back in your home. It depends on how much energy is going on and how much utility usage.
How much is one of those?
Okay, yeah. So, like I said, I'll send you a PDF to get it, but actually get it from Bill Bathgate's website.
Okay.
But anyway, this is like $1,500.
Okay, and then can, like, I personally plug it in next to the?
No, you would have to have the electrician, okay, plugging it at the box as a branch circuit. Now the DNA filters, you have electrician add a actual outlet on the A side and the B side of the box, and you plug them in there, one on the A side, one on the B side, so you get, on each of the DNA filters, you come in pairs of 2, because you have to do both sides of the box. You have an A side and B side of the box. So DNAs are like 2100. Okay, and on the I'll send you guys all that stuff too on an email. So I got it. As a matter of fact, just real quick here.
So is it for each of your electrical box? We have a couple.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so you have a sub panel, or just you have two 200 amps.
Yeah.
Okay, any house over 3,500 square feet usually has 2 boxes or a box and a sub panel. Yeah, you would need them for both. You need 2 pairs. Yeah, so it'd be $2,100 a piece for each pair. So it becomes fun when you have those nice, pretty big houses. But it will do the whole entire house. You won't have
Take
to.
it with us if we sell
What's that now?
it? Can we,
Can they take it
can
when
we
they sell the
unplug it?
house?
Yeah, you can take them with you. Tell me if you decide to move, you just unplug them out the outlets. They're plugged into an outlet.
Takes care of everything if you do want to.
Yeah, I can on this right here. This has everything here. So I'll send you this PDF. It has everything, every phone numbers, and it talks about some dirty power, where to get them. See there? See this dirty electricity?
Where did you go?
It says DNA filters. You click on that link there. Now it's a little outdated. It says 1900. It's 2100 now. But sign tamer, how to get that? So I'll send this PDF of this Word document, and then it has thousands of research stuff I have on here, including my protocol. So I'll be on here. So it's not very organized. I'm not the best at this stuff. So I just kind of throw it on there. It's like having a cup of coffee. Yeah, ivermectin, melatonin, nicotine patch. So this, I'll send this all to you. Just have that. I'll send you a Word document. It'll be all on here.
It's on this sheet. Everybody needs to sign this sheet.
So make sure you sign the sheet.
No, there was
No, we
another
did a
sign
sign-in
sheet
sheet.
when we came.
Oh, the
You
sign-
said that your water is a pH, it
Right,
raises your
Sarah?
pH. What is, we're hearing a lot about hydrogen water right now.
Yeah, hydrogen water is good. This has got, I can't believe I can't remember the name of the water company, but it's like $5,000 for this thing. It sits on my counter. And so I have a whole water system, which is like $2,500. And another $5,000 for the same, but it raises the pH anywhere from 8.5 to 11.5. And 11.5, I'm not kidding you, I have not used laundry detergent in a year. None. I've not used laundry detergent in a year. All I use is pH water. I use 2.5 and 11.5 and put it together and put it in my laundry detergent. It works better than any detergent. It takes stains out like you wouldn't believe. And
So it's, what is it now, it's hydrogen water?
No,